Hello, everybody. I'm a little nervous about the recording working because it told me that my app was not updated all the way, so I had to log in a different way. So we will see how it works. No, you have to go to Dad. Go ask him. Okay. Welcome to our June staff meeting. And while you were waiting in the comments, what's something awesome happening in your life in or out of the classroom if you'd like to share? And while we are going through, Miss Vanity said she just graduated with her associate's degree with Summa de Laude. Isn't it DeLaude? DeLaude? Am I saying it wrong? Well, congratulations, Vanity. Do you want to tell us how it's pronounced? Summa de Laude.
I honestly have no idea. I think it's Summa de Laude.
You were expecting me to pronounce it correctly?
No.
Oh, goodness. Well, congratulations. That's fantastic.
Woohoo!
Your family's got to be so proud. That's a great accomplishment. And now you can keep going to school for free with the Teach Scholarship if you choose to.
I know,
Congratulations. Okay. Thank you for sharing. If anybody else wants to share, you are totally welcome to. We have some other people typing. Miss Maddie says, something awesome in my life is that I'm graduating from high school and am planning on going to college. Way to go, Maddie. And I hear you're graduating tomorrow, so hope you have a wonderful day celebrating. A lot of people
I really appreciate that.
I can't wait to give you a big congratulations when I see you on, what's tomorrow, Thursday? Friday.
Yeah, definitely Friday for sure.
Miss Shannon, I can't type in, but I'm here. I don't know why he's not letting me.
Hello. I know if you can't type, I took a picture of the attendees, and you can always sign in on top of the mailboxes tomorrow. So thank you for joining us, Miss Brenda.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, mine's giving me trouble too. So let's hope this recording goes through.
Okay.
Super staff members of the month of June. This person dives in whenever they're needed and contributes to the space in a meaningful way. They've completed the admin requirements. They are problem solvers and they're caring towards teachers, admin, students, and families. They volunteer to do the tough task and support fellow coworkers. They have grown tremendously as an early childhood educator and professionals these past few years with us, and ensures paperwork and items required for the school age program are handled appropriately and they are well organized, which I greatly appreciate. And that person we'll name in just a second. The next person is our super staff member of May. I don't know why I wrote June. This person trains new staff members and guides them to success by holding high standards and expectations in her classroom. They communicate with parents about their child's needs and interests at the forefront of every conversation. They address that first. They have been a blessing to our infant room since day one, tremendously caring and supportive towards all students, families, and coworkers, soothing tones used when speaking to students, and they encourage parents to guide their child to thrive and grow independently. And she just got back from her trip to California. But those two individuals are Miss Stephanie and Miss Bonita. So congratulations to them. Those were our super staff members for May. So congratulations. Your items will be in your mailboxes tomorrow.
Woohoo!
Woo-hoo. Oh, I got all these special effects. Okay, so our June newsletter, Miss Ruby was kind enough to put it together. We are going to change the donuts with Dad. I think the general consensus was I was too late. So we're going to make it Monday. At least the dads will have time, or father figures will have time to either request off or take time to spend that half hour to hour with their kid at school and enjoy a nice little picnic of donuts. And I also didn't tell Joyce about it till today, so she has to put the order in for donuts. So that will give us a little more time. If we can't get it ordered, then I'll pick them up on Sunday. And that way we're ready to go Monday morning. My request to you, and I have this later, is I understand for muffins with moms, many classrooms chose 9 or 9:30, but that kind of made us scramble, especially because the moms of our students who were also teachers wanted to join in. We don't have any dads who are teachers, so that will make it a little easier, but I do ask that you try to do it during your outdoor time, so we're just not all clustered on the playgrounds at 9 or 9:30. I understand 11 might be a little too late, so if you want to talk to me about the time that your class chooses, If you're an 11 o'clock group, then that's fine. Hopefully it won't be too hot that day or rain, but if it does, we'll be in the classrooms having a nice little picnic. So we've already celebrated quite a few of these things already. We've had our Spirit Week for graduation. We held our graduation, which thank you to all of those who contributed to join in and really worked to set it up during the event and then afterwards. It's a big deal, and those parents really appreciate the efforts you go to make that happen. So thank you very much. We're going to do our donuts with Dad. We are going to switch the day. I don't really think anyone knows about it yet but you guys, so I'll make sure that it's clear in Messenger to families that it will be Monday. We have our kickoff to summer event. This year we're doing a little different. We're doing it during Parents' Night Out, and we're having our flamingo foam party. If you want to join us or you want to bring your own children to join in, you are welcome to do that. I'm thinking the flamingo foam party, if I'm not mistaken, we set it up for 6:30 so the kids could get settled, and then we'll go out to the big playground and enjoy that. And then afterwards, it's just a regular Parents' Night Out. So the children who can't do the flamingo foam party will be on another playground or inside and just doing what they would normally do during Parents' Night Out. The ones who do participate will come right in, get dressed, and go about their Parents' Night Out also. So it's kind of like a quick event. It's nothing that requires extra time from teachers on a Saturday or some things that we used to do. So we want to make sure that this is how we're going to celebrate our summertime. It's the regular parent fee also. I've had some parents ask, is it extra to the flamingo foam party? No, it's the $20 for a regular Parents' Night Out. They get the night to themselves, and their kid gets to have a little bonus activity also. The official start of our summer camp for the school agers is the 17th. So if you notice, you're going to see the second building not be as crowded as it will be come next week for the next 2 days. And that's because the official start date is Monday. The school agers are the only group who go on field trips. So they will be going twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week if they're going to the splash pad. If you have questions about the summer program or you're interested in it, just ask Joyce or myself. We are closed on June 19th for Juneteenth Day. So you get a bonus day off this month. Water Day checklist should have gone home to parents, and also the first day of your water days, and then the week, the day of the week that it will be every week. So we want to welcome to Sneed's Fair. I don't think that I've welcomed them yet. We have Miss Rihanna, who's been working in the baby room and doing quite awesome from what I understand. She's very attentive, and it is quick on her feet, which is needed in that infant room. So thank you. We have Miss Cassidy, who's joined us. She spent some time in the NC Pre-K building, and now she's going to be working in room 6 as a co-teacher for the summer, getting used to those itty bitties who may be in her class come the school year. And then we have Miss Erin, who joins us every summer, and she's at Holly Ridge this summer working in various groups, and we want to welcome her back. She's an awesome addition every summer, and I'm glad to have her back. We will have these 2 individuals starting in the next week or 2. I wanted to welcome them, even they probably haven't joined us for the meeting, but Miss Danielle and Miss Rihanna, and they will be joining us soon. We're going to kind of see where they fit. We have a feeling about some classrooms, but they will be flexing like everybody does their first few weeks with us, and they'll get to know you guys in your classrooms. New hires and everybody else. I feel like I say this every time because I do, but there's still some people who are missing it. So let's make sure we're paying attention. Please don't park in that front row. If you're brand new, you may not have known that yet. So I want to make sure you know those are for drop off and pick up for parents. So if you are a parent, please do use that front row, drop your kids off, and then go back in your vehicle like you're driving to work and go park at Cancun, or in that little middle area between Cancun and us is a great place. That's where I park typically, unless I have lots of stuff to unpack. But those spots, the house of breakfast, it's getting busy in the summer. They may start to not appreciate us parking there, but in all honesty, every weekend, our parking lot is full with their customers. So to each his own, but I recommend parking in our second lot, which is next to Cancun and our second building, and just dropping your kids off, picking them up like you would if you were commuting to work every day, leaving those spots for parents. Clocking in, we all know about that. If you have questions and you're new, please ask the teachers you're working with, ask us, because if you don't know, then you're never going to know. We got to ask these questions. The lead teachers and the co-teachers have to guide you, because if they're not guiding you and instructing you in your first few weeks of stuff, then you're going to develop bad habits. So we want to make sure that that guidance, that support is there. If you're a lead or a co-teacher and you're not comfortable guiding somebody new, please tell me, because I don't want to put you in that position where you're not comfortable. But to grow as a leader, to grow as an educator, if you're teaching what you practice, you're going to become even better at it. So that's just my view on it, but please come to us if you don't feel comfortable having new staff in your classroom. If you're a flex teacher, dive in, get your hands dirty, make sure that you are working with kids, you're engaging with students, and every classroom is different. You're going to learn different strategies, different ways that teachers interact with their students in every classroom. And that's the best part of flexing your first 6 weeks with us. Other reminders, your lesson plans, they should be posted Friday evening, and then they're ready on the wall Monday. So that means Ruby or someone in the office is signing off, making sure they're good to go, and they're posted in your room for Monday morning. Menus and schedules should be always posted. Whiteboards, make sure they're updated. Miss Pam goes around checking those numbers. Please make sure that your numbers are accurate. If you need to add a few more, you can radio to her and tell her what your new count is. Everyone should be in your class by 9:30 a.m. So if you notice there's some stragglers coming in and it becomes a little more than just once in a blue moon, please tell us, and we will speak with the parents and make sure they know that 9:30 is the cutoff time. And there are so many reasons behind that. It's very important that they're there, so lunches are accurate, classrooms are well staffed and supported, and that they're getting the educational part of their day. We don't want them to roll in at 10:30 and then just have lunch and sleep. That's not the idea of what we're instituting here. We have an education system, and our classes should be working to teach those students. Check and empty your mailboxes, charge those tablets, make sure your closers know to plug them in each evening, and the walkies. If your walkies aren't working, please let me know. There's 2 classes. I'm ordering them new walkie sets because everything I've tried hasn't worked. If you don't have working walkies, then your communication in an emergency situation is not there. So please make sure that you know they are working and they get charged each evening. The nap time list should be in every classroom. I've noticed that some cubby bins are getting real gross. So just take a wipe, take a paper towel and wipe those bad boys out, making sure that we're ridding ourselves from those little critters that might show up if there's crumbs in cubbies. I know some of our friends like to bring in a breakfast snack and then they store it in their cubby for later, but that snack stays there for days, and then days later we'll notice that it's getting moldy and gross, and then we throw it out. But we could have attracted our little critter friends that whole time. So please make sure your surfaces are wiped in between meal times, your cubbies are cleaned out, those chairs that get sticky residue from their yucky hands and their boogies are being rubbed all over chairs and under tables, we're scrubbing those. We have green scrubbies, we have magic erasers, we got all kinds of stuff. So you can make sure that your classroom is as germ-free as you could possibly make it. Purses and phones should be locked up. I made an announcement today about cell phones because I looked at those cameras, which I never typically do, and saw 3 different classrooms with cell phones out, teachers' faces in the phones, ignoring all the children around them. And I was so disappointed because when I walk in the room, everything's sunshine and rainbows. But if I'm watching from a camera, I should see the same interactions. I should see you working with children. If you need to sit with kids and work with them. There's so many things you could do. You're engaging them in the center they're working in. You don't have to create a whole new activity. You just join them. It's children-led play, children-led learning. You're talking to them about patterns, colors, their problem-solving abilities, their social emotional skills. When they reach a conflict with the peer, you're joining in and you're going to help guide them as they're trying to problem solve with the peer. That's teaching in early childhood education. We don't have to go crazy here. We just need to see them in their habitat and help them become productive citizens. Supply lists, make sure they're to us on Wednesdays. And reimbursements, make sure you get the A-OK before you start going on a buying spree. Okay, all this stuff about schedules, Make sure that you're not holding children back, especially those big kids, and you're trying to hold them. They're thrashing their heads around. They're swinging at you. They're kicking. That's not a way to make sure that they're going to be able to be calm unless you have strategies in place that guide them on their breathing, that ensure that they are in a safe area, other children are not in harm's way, and you're able to get them to actually connect with you. If you're trying to talk to a kid who's screaming at the top of their lungs, flailing, crying, in a high emotional state, you're not going to get through to them. You have to wait. And I know sometimes we are waiting an awfully long time. If you need support from admin, call us. That's what we're here for. We'll come on in. You can work one-on-one with that child to build that relationship, and we'll take the rest of the crew outside. We'll go to the carpet and read a book or dance party. It doesn't really matter. You just need to work on the relationship with that child who seems to be at a high emotional state. And we want to make sure that they understand you're there for them, you're their support system, and how can they make sure that they are able to self-regulate the next time. It's not going to be a miracle. It's going to take a lot of practice. So that's why we're there to help support you guys. Dress code, we already talked about this, but I'm going to remind you that 5 inches of your shorts, you know, those 5-inch shorts, that old Navy Sills or whatever that is, and or to the fingertips. I know some people have much longer arms than I do, but whatever works to make sure that you're not showing too much skin. And then when you're bending over, our tank tops or whatever we're doing isn't showing too much skin. When you bend over, we are not plumbers, and we're going to make sure that everything's covered back there, because you are everywhere all day. You are running, you are playing, you are sitting on the floor with these kids, you are doing everything that elementary school teachers are not. You are in there. So we want to make sure that you are covered well, and that way you are comfortable and other people are comfortable in the learning environment. If you want to dress a little more professionally, that's great. But I understand some of us want to be comfy in your classroom. But there's a way to be comfy and conservative and still look put together. Grooming, let's not just roll out of bed and head to work. We had to talk to some people about, you know, never have to brush your hair. Just make sure it's not like crazy people looking. I don't do my hair every day, but goodness gracious. Okay, and the scents. We can't have anything that's strong smelling in North Carolina. So if you do have someone who wears strong perfume or they're spritzing themselves after their lunch break, that could transfer into an allergic reaction for a child. We have very sensitive itty bitties nowadays. I mean, you walk in and you breathe peanut butter and someone's in anaphylactic shock. So please make sure that the scents that you're wearing are neutral or to no scent. And that way we're not going to have something catastrophic occur just because we want it to smell nice. We want to make sure that it's very neutral in our environments. End of the day, diaper changing. We want to make sure everybody's knows their face, they look clean. We want to bring them home cleaner than they arrived to us. Sometimes we have kids who come out of bed, they have snot covered faces, they have full diapers, but you know what? We are going to do better. We are going to make sure that we take that child into the room. We clean them up. We make sure that they are going to feel good in the classroom, and then they leave the same way. And that way, when they're outside and you have those wipes, use those wipes, clean their faces. If you notice a child needs to be changed when pickup happens, oh, let me change them for you. You're the only person on the playground who can change children. Call for admin. We will come fill in, or we'll change the kids so that they are going home clean. They're going home dry. Pottying, if they're still in the potty procedures, we want to make sure that we have that schedule for those children and we're having them go potty on a routine basis. When they're outside, they're too busy playing. They're not going to tell us all the time that they have to go potty. So we have to make sure we're adhering to that schedule that we set for them. All right. Supervision, when you are on the playground, I've seen a lot of clustering of teachers, and I can appreciate the fact that you're trying to communicate different things about the day. Perhaps you're trying to talk about a child and their needs, but we do have to make sure that we are stationed on the playgrounds. When you're at one end and the other teacher's at another end and you're both watching the interior of the playground, that's the best case scenario. We're going to see things before they happen. Hopefully we're able to interject before something happens and someone gets hurt, especially if we have some very strong-willed children or we have biters in our classroom. We want to have our eyes on them. The 1 second you're distracted or you go talk to somebody else, I bet you that's the moment they bite, because it just happens that way. You're not monitoring them. And it's hard to see everything when your back is turned. So when you do your whiteboard, you're going to bring your whiteboard with you off the wall and start writing names or whatever you need to do facing the class. So at least you kind of have that side eye on them. If you're changing diapers and you're by yourself and you know there's going to be something happening because you got those kids who can't wait for you to start changing diapers and get distracted, if we have the extra resource, tell us about that time of day and we will try to give you a third person or a second person if you're by yourself at that time of day, so that we can at least reduce as many incidents as possible. Keeping your kids engaged. You're changing diapers and you're singing songs and they're singing with you, they're less likely to start something where they may get frustrated with something and then lash out and bite or harm a friend. So different ways to keep them engaged in the classroom, asking them silly questions, talking about different things in the room, making sure that you're able to get them distracted. All right, so all the bite reports, non-injury reports, and ABC charts, and incident reports, those are all official documents. They're all considered legal documents. So if someone could bring them to court if they're doing some kind of, say it's a parental dispute for custody and they need to prove some things. Could be anything, but these could be brought with them. So we want to make sure they're always written in black ink. We really only provide black pens, but I know some people like their own colorful pens. Please don't use them on these documents. We want just the facts, ma'am. No emotions tied in. No, I think they were feeling this way. We just want to say what was seen. And if you didn't see it, tell us. We will try to watch the video and then we will see what happened. Perhaps the child said that so-and-so hit them because of no reason, but in fact, so-and-so hit them because they snatched the toy and hit them first. So we want to make sure that we have the story straight. If an adult did not see it, then we can go ahead and go back and watch it to be sure. Okay, and then the incident reports, the carbon copy. Ideally, we take the inked copy on the top, but if a parent takes it, I mean, as long as we have a copy, that's really all that matters. Something great that I've seen many teachers do is they'll take a picture of the incident report or the bite report and send it as a picture on ProCare so the parent knows what it said. We have documented proof of what it said because sometimes they walk out the door with it and they don't really think about the fact that they had to return it. It gets left on their counter for weeks and then it goes in the trash. So we want to make sure if you take a picture of it, it was there. We did write it. They just took it home with them. So at least we have that documentation. Oh, and if you don't know about ABC charts, anecdotal behavior charts and the antecedent behavior charts. And the antecedent is what happened before the behavior. What was their trigger? The behavior is what did the child actually do, explicitly do? Maybe they threw a chair or something to that effect. And then what was the consequence? And the consequence doesn't have to be what consequence you gave them. It could be they threw a chair and then they brought themselves to cozy and had a nervous breakdown, or they threw their body to the ground afterwards and then it took them 5 minutes to self-regulate after that. Or the consequence could have been that a teacher approached them and had to help them de-escalate. So it doesn't have to, when we think consequence, we think bad, but consequence could be something that occurred right after the behavior to support the child. Just so everybody keeps that in mind. These are great when we're trying to get IEPs in process and started for some children, because as soon as they turn 3, they're eligible for IEPs. And it's really such a shame that the kids don't get IEPs until they reach kindergarten or 1st grade, when they could have had this in place when they were 3 or 4 and early intervention could have taken place. So we want to make sure that we do what we can for these kids, get them the therapies and supports so that they can be productive little citizens in kindergarten. Okay, so this has been a long time coming. I'm pretty sure I missed a ton of things everybody does, but I kind of just gave the big ideas. If I miss something, I'm going to print this. So I'm going to just make sure everybody sees it. If I miss something, Joyce, Ruby, Brenda, Stephanie, Barbie, Brittany, if you do something else that's big that people should know about or that's significant for staff to come to you for, please tell me and I'll fix it. So these are all the things that people in the office are responsible for. So if you have something like payroll and you have something that did not go through on payroll, or, oh, you're supposed to take this from me and I have health insurance now and it wasn't taken out, that's a Joyce thing. If you have something to do with NC Pre-Care 3 school, that's a me thing, and Miss Barbie helps me with that. She does a lot of the entry and paperwork for that. Miss Ruby is all about staff files and things that have to do with staff. So if you have a question about Building Bright Futures apprenticeship program, for Teach Scholarship, about your continuing education, that's something for Miss Ruby. I'd be happy to help, but she's the guru. I used to be knowledgeable, and now I have no idea what's happening anymore, but I will try to help. Miss Brenda S. is now going to be in charge of student files. So when we have new enrollments, when we have parents who need to turn things in, like medical paperwork, that's going to go to Miss Brenda at the front desk. Tuition, slowly but surely, Miss Brenda is going to become the tuition expert. She has some things down, but if you have a family who's interested in subsidized care, or they want to do the military subsidy, Miss Brenda will become the guru. I will transfer all that knowledge to her. So you can go to either one of us right now. Pro care adjustments, if your timesheet needs to be adjusted, say you forgot to clock out or clock in, you can go to Brenda. You can come to anybody else also, but she's the person who's going to be my Pro Care Pro. So if you want to go and just put the Post-it on her desk, she'll fix it for you. If I get there first, then I'll fix it for you. And what else did I want to share with you? Stephanie is going to be all about building 2 paperwork. So if you have school age students, or in the future NC pre-K students, Miss Stephanie is going to be the one who files and organizes building 2 paperwork. So if you have something that belongs in building 2, you can stick it in her mailbox, or we'll find a place in building 2 where filing can go in. I believe we had a tray, but I can't say if the tray is there right now. So we'll make sure it's well seen where to put the stuff. Okay, so I have a bunch of resources and I feel like I don't share them enough. They are free or we pay for them. And some of them are extremely beneficial. Some of you are new to us, so you don't know that these resources are available. And you may be going through different situations in the classroom. Maybe transitions are really difficult for you right now in your class. Maybe you have a child who needs really something different. You've tried all your tricks and it's just not working for them. So you need something else in behavior management or classroom management. Biting. Perhaps you have a biter in your class, which they come and go. We have 4-year-old biters. We have toddler and infant biters. So any age group, there's different strategies, there's different resources. And then of course, if you have so many bites from that child, we start to get the parents involved. We have to send them home after 2 bites in a day. After 4 bites in the week, we send them home for the rest of the week, but that's not without a support program by administration and the parents in the classroom. So all those things come together and hopefully we're able to stop the child from that continuous biting. But it takes a whole village to get that done. So that's why we have to take all those steps and measures into play. And we don't want anyone else to get hurt. Okay. So we have, I already told you about that, Parents Night Out. These are, like I said, from the past from Chantel. So I just wanted to share them again. They're all free. She and her group at Martin Pitt have created these resources, and I really would love you to try and check them out. This PowerPoint will be shared with you later, and you can always go back to it. So the Padlet has a whole bunch of different wellness things for adults. We had a whole year of wellness for staff, and it was a great year. We had some free events. We had a whole staff training day on how to take care of yourself, about your mental and emotional well-being. So all those resources are the first one. The other Padlet is different things that you do throughout the day, circle time, transitions, different classroom management strategies, social emotional lessons that are free and that are very nice and short and sweet. I did buy Second Step for our preschool classes, so you can use that. Ages 2.5 and up, it's definitely appropriate. They're about 10-15 minutes long, and they have little puppets, and they're fun, and they're engaging, and they're teaching your students to be good friends and great little citizens, like I say, in the classroom. And then we have our childcare lounge. Those are paid courses, but we will reimburse you. Any trainings that you take, we reimburse. Just make sure you ask us if it looks a little pricey. Some of them can get upwards. But if it's a $5 to $30 course and you find it valuable to your professional goals, please make sure that you are taking it. We reimburse you with the certificate and the receipt. Then we have Pinterest site from Miss Chantel. It includes Tucker Turtle, and it seems to be a great little program. It's a turtle who goes through his social emotional journey. There are little books that you can print and read to your students. There are also personalized social stories that you can print for a child with a very specific or unique need in the classroom. So say you have a child who their parents are going through a divorce. There is a social emotional story for that. You can put the child's little pictures in it if you choose to, their name, and really make it for them. Then you print the book with our printers. I even have a new binding machine. You can laminate the pages and bind it, and that's their book. When they're having a tough time that day, they go to their cubby, they get their social emotional story, and they go to Cozy and they read it themselves, or they read it with you or your co-teacher or the flex teacher for the day. But something that they can say is theirs, and it's guiding them so that they can regulate and they can understand that it's okay, and this is something that will support them. Another one, loss in the family, and there's a whole bunch of different ones. So those are in the live binders, and then they have a whole Twitter, which I haven't gone to. Twinkle is a website that we pay a membership for. I think many of you have visited the site, but it's like a plethora of things for preschool age classrooms. It even gives you the posters for your centers. So you can just have 2 friends at this center, that poster, and then you can make their little faces on Velcro, and they Velcro their face so they can see 2 faces are there at Art Center. So we have to go pick another one. And that's a great way for your classroom to be the 3rd teacher. Your classroom can be a teacher. It can show your students what's expected because you have these visual aids everywhere. They have schedules on Twinkle. They have whole lesson plans and themes of units. So much. I really encourage you to check it out. And we pay for it, so why not use it? Conscious Discipline, I also pay for a subscription. They have videos that you can watch, a whole bunch of different social, emotional lessons, printouts that you can use for your class, little things that you can print and make for your cozy area, just so much. Check it out and go through. I think you'll be overwhelmed with the amount of information that they provide in these websites. So we can always guide you if you need some guidance. Cox Campus is a free university, and it's a whole bunch of different workshops and trainings and courses for free. You get a certificate with these. Some of them are like 5 contact hours, 8 contact hours, and they're so valuable. I think they're really well done. One that I think is especially beneficial are the infant and toddler ones, because we don't really get too many of those in our world. It's a lot of preschool geared trainings that I see, but ones that are specifically geared towards infant and toddler teachers, that's awesome. I really think they're valuable. It's about talking with children, infants and toddlers, just talking throughout the day. We think we do it, but there's so much more we can do. And it just develops their language skills, their linguistic skills to the nth degree, because you're just talking to them all day. Some of us like to talk to our friends. We're just going to talk to some babies all day too. Okay, so Donuts with Dad, scratch off the Friday. It's going to be Monday, so I'll change the day, but you will get this flyer printed in your mailbox, and that way you can pass them out tomorrow morning, and we'll send it out on ProCare, and that way hopefully they get enough notice to be able to come join us. The summer program for school agers at Sneeze Ferry and Holly Ridge. I didn't put the Holly Ridge one there, sorry guys, but it's more about STREAM. So I started STREAM when I was an elementary school teacher. I just added a couple letters to STEM learning, but really it's so important to have your children reading at least 30 minutes every day. Doesn't mean they have to know how to read the words. They can read pictures. They can retell a story they know, or they can just read the words that they do know with a buddy. There's many different strategies. We have those little CDs, and you can have them read to your students. There's a lot of stuff in storage. Even the Alexa can read stories to a small group. So we just have to get creative. And this doesn't just stop with our school aiders. You can start this with your 2s and up, showing them how to use the tools in the classroom appropriately. It might be a whole week of learning how to use the book or the library area with the CDs appropriately, but they will learn and they will become experts. And if they're not learning how to be an expert, then they have to have guided practice more than the others. We're going to do more problem solving. They're going to have little cooking lessons and science lessons, problem solving, whole themes of problem solving, and they're faced with the problem like the pollution in a certain river. How would they remove the polluted items from the river? And these are different things. They can use recycled materials. All right. Okay, water days. Everyone should have gotten their flyer of what day their water day is. It starts officially next week. If you see something that doesn't really work for you, please come tell us. We'll do our best to work it out for you. Tuesdays is going to be our 2s. Wednesdays are going to be our 3s. Thursday 4s. Fridays is school age and room 5. So building 2, obviously there's 2 classrooms there, but if you start at 9 and you guys do 9, 10, and then 11 o'clock group, it should be plenty of time. The big playground can hold 44 children. So if one of your age groups, say the 3s or the 4s, you'd rather go out all together, which, not for me, but if you'd rather all go out together and get it all done with in that 1 hour, that's fine. It can hold 44 kids on the big playground. But keep in mind, when they go on that play structure, it is super slippery. So we do not advise children going on the big play structure when they are wet. We kind of close it off. It's closed. And then when they're done with water play, they can go on the big play structure. But if they're playing in water, they stay in the water play area. So to reduce that amount of, the risk of injury, we want to make sure that we keep them separate. I do not want the 2s on that big playground, and I'm kind of reluctant to have the 3s on that playground, but it is their playground also. So just be mindful and practice safety. Okay. Oh, so we have splash pads, sprinklers, refillable water balloons, and sponges and buckets, so they can dip in those car wash sponges and do little races if you want to do them. If you think of anything else, I just can't do water guns, and I can't do water that is more than 2 inches deep. So that's why we have to cut the splash pad bottom so it doesn't collect water, which is kind of a bummer, but that's the way we get around having a splash pad. Redirecting behavior training. I did show this a year or so ago, but I wanted to make sure that I either showed this one to you guys. I want to show this one to you guys in a biting video as well. I think they're terrific strategies. They may or may not work in your class. Everybody's different. All your kids are different, but it's good to have another tool for your tool belt. So this brings up a bunch of different situations and how you can redirect behavior with different modalities. So I wanted to show you this one. And if we have questions after, feel free to ask your questions and we'll talk about them a little bit after as well.
Hello, and welcome to this short module on redirect.
Sorry, it's not loud enough.
Behavior. Redirecting behavior is a proactive method for dealing with challenging behavior. It maximizes a child's engagement in learning by giving the child alternatives to a behavior that teachers consider problematic. Redirecting behavior is one in a series of in-service suites on behavior guidance. This is the House framework. The National Center on Quality Teaching and Learning uses this framework to show the necessary elements of effective teaching that support school readiness for all children. These elements are a solid foundation of effective interactions and environments, the pillars that remind us of the importance of a research-based curriculum and ongoing child assessment, and the roof that represents highly individualized Teach the House. Now, let's see what redirecting behavior looks like and learn different ways to use this method in preschool classrooms. Redirecting behavior helps to increase a child's engagement in learning by preventing problem behavior in the first place, and by avoiding the escalation of problematic or challenging behavior. That means teachers use redirecting before the behavior gets out of hand. Redirecting behavior consists of simple instructions and simple cues that teachers can easily embed into the ongoing activities and routines of the day. Teachers can use redirecting behavior along with classroom rules and clear expectations to help maintain a well-organized and productive learning environment. Let's look at 4 types of redirecting. Teachers can redirect verbally, physically, with a cue, or by redirecting the child's attention. Regardless of the type of redirection, it is used when the teacher notices that the child's attention is flagging, or the teacher notices that the child is on the verge of losing control or showing frustration in a way that teachers consider problematic. Redirection happens before the problem behavior. Verbal. The teacher gives a simple instruction that distracts the child from the challenging behavior and guides the child to a more appropriate behavior. The teacher might say, "Let's see if we can find another shiny car," or "I need a helper with these carpet squares. Can you help me?"
Hey, let's go spray down our window, my friend. Oh man, our window's looking great. Nice and clean.
Physical. The teacher gives a simple instruction and uses a gentle touch to prevent the child's challenging behavior. The gentle touch interrupts the child's behavior, and in that pause, the teacher guides the child to a more appropriate behavior.
Can you look up? Let's wait until she answers our question. Ask her again. Can you see them? Oh, thank you. That was very nice of you.
With the cue, the teacher pairs a visual cue, like a picture or a gesture, with the instruction to prevent the child's challenging behavior and guide the child to an alternative.
Here, go like this, and he'll come land. Watch this. Land on the finger. Thank you.
Sometimes, a teacher can predict difficult situations, and so she has pictures already prepared. With attention. The fourth type of redirecting involves another child who is nearby and who is playing or talking appropriately. The teacher draws the attention of the child on the verge of a challenging behavior to the child who is engaged. This type of redirecting is sometimes called proximal attention.
So let's see who is ready to help us today. Oh, I see he's sitting really nice and quiet. He's trying his best. So I see him start with the letter D. Who is D? Daryl, thank you so much.
Redirecting behavior is a positive and proactive method for dealing with challenging behavior. It can be a way to prevent the behavior or interrupt the behavior before it escalates. By guiding the child to an alternative and more appropriate behavior, the teacher is also helping the child gain some self-control. In this module, we looked at 4 ways to use redirection: verbally, physically, with a cue, or with proximal attention. Learn more about this method of behavioral guidance in our longer in-service suite. Check out the tips for
Okay. I went to the next screen, but I wanted to talk about the different strategies. I know I've shown this before. I know some of you have watched it because you've been around with us for a little while now, but it's so important to have those different tools in your pocket. Making sure that you know what works for your kids. If you have a new friend in your class, you're going to try different things with them and see what works. I hear it all day in the hallway when I'm walking up and down. I hear teachers noticing a child who's doing what's expected, and then you can just tell that the other ones are going to follow suit. And that's one of my favorite things, because you're highlighting and you're applauding and celebrating a child while also trying to get everybody else to follow in what's going on. The time I think that seems to be the most effective is when they're standing on line and waiting to go outside, because you can notice, oh, I see Shannon's hands are by her side. She's standing nice and tall, and she's looking straight ahead at that person's head right in front of her. And everybody else, you can just see them all straighten up, and they look like little soldiers ready to go outside. So anytime that you find that you need to redirect, or you can tell something's going to happen before it does, because you know your kids, and that's why supervision is so important. Staying on opposite sides of the playground. In the classroom, you're situating yourselves where you're facing inwards to the classroom, but you're at an external portion of the classroom working with a group. If you're in block center, you're going to have your back to the shelf facing the other students in the classroom. You're not going to have your back to the rest of the kids. If you're doing circle time, you're at that far corner and you're looking out towards the rest of the classroom, and your co-teacher or the flex teachers are on that perimeter working with kids who may not be able to sit very still for long, which isn't expected from these itty bitties, right? So you're thinking about their attention span and what you can do to make sure that you're engaging them. If you know you're losing them, get up and do something else for a minute. Get up and dance, boogie, shake out all your wiggles, whatever you're going to do, and then you can bring them back in. But having that high expectation comes with time. They are still very, very young, very little, and they're learning to work in groups cooperatively and focus and give you their attention for so many more minutes, at a time. They're learning and they're growing. So just keeping that in mind so that you can help support your students to grow, but also find where those triggers are going to be, and then you use these strategies to intervene. So this is the next kind of like just pivoting into biting, because I didn't really have a good transition, but I wanted to make sure I addressed it today, because unfortunately biting can happen in any age group, especially for those darlings who have had some trauma in their lives or have a lot of stress in their lives. It's one way that they are able to show their stress outwardly. Kids are very much, the little ones are going to show us their stress in various ways, where the older ones will be able to internalize them and then show their struggles in a different way. So none are healthy, but to see the stress outwardly in biting or hitting, that's something we can at least see and understand and address. Where if it's internalized from an older child, it takes us much more digging and research and investigation to get down into how can we best support that child and why is this happening. So for prevention, we have some steps here, and it's from Conscious Discipline. The video is short and sweet, and it gives us all these tips. So these are the written tips for us, but I'm going to get us to the video so we can see it in action from Miss Becky Bailey herself. So these are the steps before. I just showed you all those little written cards. So if you want to go back and just read the cards over again later, you're welcome to do that. But this video is pretty informative and it's straightforward. It gives you a 1, 2, 3 steps of how to really hone in on biters and hopefully have success with them.
So there's 3 parts for the biting. You need prevention, you need stress reduction activities, and then you need to deal with the moment. So I'm going to go through the 3 parts. So the first part is prevention. So secure biters. So you know you've got a stressed kid. You know they're stressed because they're biting. Okay? So what you've got to do is, a lot of biting happens during transitions. It happens when people are busy. That's why it seems like it happens so fast. But if you're standing there watching them, it kind of happens in slow motion because they're slow people, right? But it seems like it just happened because there's too much going on in the room. So what you got to do, you got to secure the biter based on rules and regulations. Usually I think it's a good time for an extra snack. It looks like a snack, so if anybody came in, it smells like a snack. Here's an Oreo. You're in some kind of secure high chair, and now I'm going to deal with the rest of you. And when someone comes in and said, oh, they needed a snack, not that you've been strapped in that container so we can get something done without you hurting others. And what I do is I put something around their neck. I don't like these. These are too harsh. So what I used to do back in the day, and I think it's still the best way, is I make a necklace for the child, and I'll take a wash rag and I'll cut it into 4s and hang the wash rag, because I'm gonna need to throw something in their face. And if you take these teething things and throw it in their face, you could end up with a lot of paperwork. So you need to have something soft, okay? So put them away during transitions. 2, you need to figure out what is the stress. You don't need to figure out what the stressor is. You need to start with stress reduction activities. So what are stress reduction activities? Skin to skin. You need to carry them more. Put them on your skin. You need to go back with stress. We withdraw. So you know that that 2-year-old is not 2. That 2 is acting like something else behaviorally. So you need to go back. You need to get more attunement, more time on their chest, more time downloading, more visual schedules, more routines, more body massage. Go back and reduce the stress. Now, if you could then give some of this to go home, that would be great. And say, can you do some of these things? Because we're working on reducing the stress at home. And I'll guarantee you there's stress at home. Guaranteed. Okay. Then you're going to teach. So you put the child up during transition. You work on reducing the stress. Stress reducing activities. Then you're going to have someone shadow that child. And they need to know what they're doing. So you've got someone, when that child is free, when the biter is free, there's someone like this. Just waiting for it. Just waiting. And when it happens, so Angela, you come, okay, so here is Megan, Angela's the biter. I'm the shadow person, and you have to have one, so you got to get them out of the cafeteria. You got to get them wherever they are. Okay, so Angela goes to bite. I'm going to take this and throw it up into her face. Look what happens when I hit her face. Her mouth closes. Or you can try to do what I did for years and catch the jaw, but I have scars all over my hands from that, even at this late age. So it's better to do this. Does that, y'all got it? So here she goes. I get her mouth to shut. See, her mouth is shut. Automatically it will shut. And then I have to be quick. You want it, and you're going to do whatever it is. You wanted the bear. You wanted the bear. If whatever language, say bear. Now, here's the deal. To get her to use any gesture other than biting, she gets it like a magic wand. So, too bad, Megan. So, Megan is going to give one for the team. All right? Because as soon as she says bear, either Megan puts it there or I take it from Megan and give it to her. This has to be magic. Do you know how powerful a bite is? Everybody drops everything and it's a miracle. So this has to be like, okay, now, often this one is used to being victimized and might let it be, or she'll start crying. Now, forget her right now. We're dealing with a biter, okay? So does everybody understand? She gets it. Then you try oh, that was hard. Even though you're the aggressor, you're going to go, right now is the time not to do DNA. Now you're going to distract. Oh, there's Bobby Jack. There's Bobby Jack. Oh, I know Bobby Jack. Now we're doing the happy up distract stuff that y'all are very good at. Okay? Because I can't really do the DNA. I was the aggressor. So if I'm trying to snatch from you and then turn around, that's that systems colliding. Y'all see that? So this is happy up, okay? And you do this until you have to do all three. If you don't do all three, nothing will work. Secure the child during transitions. Reduce the stress. Shadow the child. Do this. Now, after she gets the idea that all this starts working, then she'll go like this. And she won't get the dog. Oh, you want the bear. Megan's playing with it. Oh, you have a choice. There's Bob. See, I've still got there's Bobby Jack or this I and we thing, the weenus. Oh, you want the weenus? Yeah. Does this make sense? Nothing you do after a bite will do anything for a bite. It's too primitive of an action. Nothing. So whatever you do after the bite, if you wanted to go get ice for her or do whatever you want or do anything you want after, I'm just going to say it's not going to prevent biting from occurring ever. So do whatever you want. That's 30 years or so of my life, and that's the only way I've ever seen biting to stop.
Okay, so two things that I want to address that Becky Bailey shared, though I do appreciate her 3 steps and I can see them working very well. Number one, we can't use teething necklaces in North Carolina child care centers. So we would have to have one of those teething rings or different things that just don't go around the neck on the student. But many different things we can put near their mouth to stop them from biting. And that does mean you have to be in proximity to where they are. You have to be able to be in reaching distance to the child that you're shadowing. We're doing our best. We have quite a few biters, and that's why I'm showing this video. That's why we're taking time with it. When the shadow is in your room, they are now, because we all just watched this video, they know what they're responsible for. They're going to be in proximity to the child. They are their shadow. If there's a child between you and the biter, you're too far from the biter. You have to be able to reach them so you can interact and you can intercept the bite. You holding the teething ring and just making sure it's in your hand, because we are playing a waiting game. You're waiting for them to act and you're going to intercept. And then you're offering them, instead of what Becky did, she was like throwing stuff at the kid's face. You're going to offer them the biting teething ring, whatever it is. Some of our kids have a special thing they bite. If you want to do something different, we just have to check into it, like the rag she was saying. That might be a sanitary thing that we have to see, but there are options out there. And then she also said that she put her hands on kids' jaws. Please don't put your hands on the kid's jaw. Let's not do that, because we might injure the kid because we're trying to react quickly. So just don't do that part. And she got bit so many times, I wouldn't even recommend that to anybody else doing it. But we would put the teether in between them and hopefully the child they were going to bite, and that way they have something else to gnaw on in that moment. And then we go through the whole engagement of, oh, you wanted this. They have to learn how to ask for it or how to approach a situation that's appropriate in the way that they handle it. Obviously, biting is not appropriate, so we're trying to have them, even our toddlers, they're learning their sign language. We can find a special sign for something that they want, and then they can say, please, if we so choose to throw in some manners in there. But in the end, they're trying to replace the biting with an actual manner or a word that expresses what they wanted to start with. And then eventually we can get into more of the detail. I know in some classes, like Miss Karen's class, after a child is injured, she asks if they want comfort or if they want space. Just like Becky said, we're trying to prevent the biting, and then anything we do after that is an added bonus. You're going to get ice and you're going to soothe the child's boo-boo. We're going to make sure that they're okay. We're going to check on our friend. And then you ask the person who got bit, do you want space or do you want comfort? Those are great things to add on, but the main focus is to stop the biting. We've got to interject, and we got to model what's appropriate right after we stop that bite. Does anyone have questions about the video or about biting or about the 3 different tools that we were talking about prior? Okay, we got a whole bunch of crazy chat going on here. All right, let's move on because we're almost done. Okay, so supervision, we talk about this all the time, but tone is very important. I hear it sometimes because you want to stop, like say a biter before they bite, and we go, Shannon! And we're raising our voice. We're trying to warn the child, don't bite. But there's a difference between that and then no biting in the classroom. So I just want you to realize and recognize the different tones and the manner of when they're used. So you want to catch me before I bite a friend. Ideally, you would be right next to me as my shadow. But if I'm changing diapers and there's 3 kids in the class, that kid's all the way over there. I need to get their attention. I don't want them to bite the other child. So I go, Shannon, don't bite your friends. I just had to get their attention. But it's very different than that stern, angry tone that sometimes comes out when people are overly frustrated or overwhelmed. So please call for admin if you need any of that support, and we'll come hustling down. If you have kids climbing all over everything and you need someone in the room, please call for admin and we will come help you. Okay. Talked about all those. I don't know why that's in there again. The checklist at the end of the day. For the past few weeks, and it might be because, Miss Susan was on vacation for a little while and then things got a little different with new closers, but I do want you to double check that the trash is taken out each evening. And if there's a diaper changing table in the room, it has been soaped and disinfected. You will know it's been disinfected because we let the disinfectant sit overnight. Every diaper changing table has to be disinfected at the end of the day. If you choose to spray up your trash cans with disinfectant, that's awesome. They need it. But I really want to make sure that everything that has to do with diaper changing, pottying, you spritz those bad boys down with disinfectant. You spray your toilets down with disinfectant, your sinks. As long as you are closing the room, no child is going to go touch things. spray those items down so they are ready to go and they're as clean as they could be from your hands. And then Miss Susan comes around and she uses her bleach solutions, but it doesn't hurt to do that. And we want to prevent all kinds of illnesses. All right. Oh, and toys. If you have kids who put toys in their mouths throughout the day, there are even some school agers who do it. They go in the dirty toy bin. Then during rest time or some kind of lull in the day, you are soaping and disinfecting those items, sanitizing those items and letting them air dry. Sanitizing solution, let them air dry. And then we put them back where they belong. Please make sure you're doing that, because a dirty toy that gets put back in the center that it came from is just gross, and it's going to make everybody sick. If you got a stomach bug and you had that kid put something in their mouth, they put it back in, it touches all those toys. Another kid comes, puts it in them. Everybody's going to get the stomach bug, you included. So please make sure you are cleaning those toys at least once a week. You should have a pile of dirty toys if you're in a toddler, infant, or twos room, and they should be cleaned at rest time at least once a week. So this is a little early, but I want to make sure I put it out there that if you're thinking towards the future and you've been thinking about your position, you're like, you know what, I would love to change things up for the next school year, not the summer because we're already in it, but for the next school year come August, just either come talk to admin, message one of us, think it over. What do you really have in mind? Is it just you need a change of space? Do you need a change of age group? Do you love where you are and you don't want to leave? Don't make me go anywhere, Shannon. So then you can say those things to me too. But I won't know until you express those things to us. So just putting this in your ear if you want to start thinking about August, because it'll be here before we know it. We did a yard sale a couple years back, and it was okay. It wasn't too successful. I think I picked the wrong time of day or something, but I'm going to try to do it again. I just wanted to know if people are interested. So if you have things that you'd like to sell, or you know of someone who'd love to join in our yard sale, you just kind of bring your junk to our parking lot and we're going to host it. I don't have a date yet. I don't have the times, but I want to know the interest that we have out there. We had a bounce house, we had food trucks, we had some vendors show up, and then they also sold the items they make and then like the stuff from their garage. And it was like a mixture of vendors and yard sale stuff. And it would have been more successful, but I'm not going to do the afternoon. I think I'm going to do more morning this time. But anyway, if you're interested, just let me know. And then your trainings that must get done. I know Miss Ruby's constantly reminding people. She's very on top of it, but these are live links. So if you need to take a course, like we have to take our fire safety every year, just click the link. You'll have Karen Darby give you a nice training on it, and you'll get it out of the way because it's on demand. So you can use these links when you go through the PowerPoint. And then CPR this month, I think, is going to be taught by me. So woohoo, come to CPR if you need it. And if you are a renewal CPR person, you just need recertification, Ruby or I will do it during the day. So you don't have to go through the whole 2.5, 3 hour training. All right, anybody have questions or comments? Please always make sure you come open door policy, pop in, message us, whatever the case may be. But like Joyce says, if we don't know there's a problem, we cannot help you find a solution. So please come tell us. If you're sharing your problem with others, that's called gossip. And it becomes a huge problem when we could have just worked out what happened and worked together to find a solution for you that hopefully solves it, or at least makes you happier that we were listening and tried our best. Because sometimes we can't fix it perfectly, but we definitely do our best to help. All right. Anybody, Miss Joyce, Miss Ruby, Miss Brenda, anything to share? All right.
Miss Brenda T would like to share something.
Yes, Miss Brenda T.
All I ask if anybody who, after I leave in the nighttime, I can tell when my water jug is not washed properly. If they close at nighttime and my water jug is outside till 6 o'clock, whoever does the closing in the evening, please, I beg you, soap and water to clean the jugs. It is gross. The kids put their mouths on the bottom of those jugs. It needs to be cleaned thoroughly. So I come in a little bit early in the morning to clean those jugs.
So every Friday, those jugs are supposed to be soaked and sanied and left to air dry in the kitchen. If you find that, like Miss Brenda does, her water jug is getting gross in the middle of the week, then we can have What can we have? Maybe during
Also-
active rest time.
Oh, so they don't wash them in the evening at afterwards?
We only soap and sanitize on Fridays, and they air dry over the weekend. Each evening, they only have to refill it. But if you notice it's gross, I mean, typically someone would say, "Hey, that's gross," and they're going to wash it. So if you do notice that, and it's a common occurrence, we'll try to find a time, maybe during active rest, that we can wash it for you or take care of that, because we don't want the kids getting sick.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else have questions, comments? Well, I appreciate you coming and joining us. Hopefully this recorded for those who did miss it today. And we will see you guys tomorrow morning. Bye, everybody.